I now call to order the August 15, 2024 Clackamas County Board of Commissioners business meeting. Deputy Administrator Nancy Bush, would you please take the roll?
Yes, and before I do that, I would like to introduce our staff in the room today. Today we have Jane Vettel here for County Council, and we have Everett Wild here as clerk to the board. Commissioner Shull.
Here.
Commissioner West.
Here.
Commissioner Schrader.
Here.
Commissioner Savas.
Present.
Chair Smith.
Here, please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Good morning, everyone. We are holding this meeting virtually and in person. If you've joined us via Zoom for this meeting and are interested in providing public comment, we will tell you how to do that when the time is right. General public comment will be taken at the usual allotted time. I would like to remind all participants, including staff, all elected officials, and members of the public, that Robert's Rules of Order will be followed in this business meeting. We welcome your opinions and look forward to your polite participation. I will now recess as the Board of County Commissioners and convene as a Housing Authority of Clackamas County. Nancy, can you introduce the first item?
Yes, I will. I just found out that Ann Lindstrom is not in the room today, so if she does come, we'll make sure we let her in. So first we have the Housing Authority consent agenda. And Everett, could you please read the consent agenda?
Housing Authority Consent Agenda. Item 1, approval of Resolution 1993, appointing Shannon Callahan as the Executive Director of the Housing Authority of Clackamas County. No fiscal impact, no county general funds involved. Item 2, approval of a revenue grant agreement with the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development to administer rental assistance for the Shelter Plus Care program. Total grant value is $644,088 for 1 year. Funding is through the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development, and the 25% match requirement is met through Metro Supportive Housing Funds. No county general funds are involved. Item 3, approval to apply for a multifamily incentive package from the PGE Renewable Development Fund to promote sustainable building systems at the Hillside Park redevelopment project. Grant value is up to $350,000, funding through state funding. No county general funds are involved. Chair, that concludes the Housing Authority consent agenda.
Thank you. Does any commissioner wish to remove anything from the Housing Authority consent agenda? Any further discussion? I'll entertain a motion.
I move for approval of the Housing Authority consent agenda.
Second.
Commissioner Shull has moved for approval of the Housing Authority consent agenda, and Commissioner Schrader has seconded the motion. Any further discussion? Seeing none, Everett, please call the poll.
Commissioner West.
Aye.
Commissioner Savas.
Aye.
Commissioner Schrader.
Aye.
Commissioner Shull.
Aye.
Chair Smith.
Aye. Motion is approved 5-0. I will now adjourn as a Housing Authority Board and reconvene as a Board of County Commissioners. Nancy, what's next?
So next we have the consent agenda. And Everett, would you please read that consent agenda, please?
Consent agenda for Clackamas County. Under elected officials, item 1, approval of previous business meeting minutes for the Board of County Commissioners. Item 2, approval of a contract with Bridges to Change for transitional housing services. Contract value is $5,966,938 over 4 years. Funding is through the Oregon Department of Corrections and Metro Supportive Housing Services Measure funds. No county general funds are involved under the sheriff. Also under the sheriff, item 3, approval of an intergovernmental agreement with the Clackamas County Fairgrounds and Event Center for law enforcement patrols at the 2024 County Fair. Agreement value is $23,300 for 1 week. Funding is through the Clackamas County Fairgrounds and Event Center. No county general funds are involved. Under County Council, designation of newspaper for 2024 property tax foreclosure publication. Fiscal impact is estimated at $3,000. Funding is through budgeted county general funds. Under Disaster Management, Item 1, approval of a board order adopting the Clackamas County Multi-Jurisdictional Natural Hazards Mitigation Plan. No fiscal impact, no county general funds are involved. Under Health, Housing, and Human Services, Item 1, approval of a grant agreement with the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development for Continuum of Care Planning Activities. Total grant value is $234,704 for 1 year. Funding is through the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development. The 25% match requirement is met through Supportive Housing Services Fund investments. No county general funds are involved. Item 2, approval of a revenue intergovernmental agreement with the Oregon Housing and Community Services Department for rapid rehousing programming related to the governor's state of emergency due to homelessness. Agreement value is $912,170.91 for 3 years. Funding is through the Oregon Housing and Community Services Department. No county general funds are involved. Item 3, approval of a grant agreement with the Oregon Department of Administrative Services for construction of the Clackamas County Stabilization Center. Total agreement value is $4 million. Funding through the Oregon Department of Administrative Services. No county general funds are involved. Item 4, approval to apply to the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development for the Eviction Protection Grant Program. Anticipated grant value is $2,500,000 over 2 years. Funding is through the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development. No county general funds are involved. Item 5, approval to apply to the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services for the Supporting Vaccine Confidence Grant Program. Anticipated grant value is $750,000 over 3 years. Funding is through the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services. No county general funds are involved. Under Transportation and Development, Item 1, approval of a resolution approving the 5-year Transportation Capital Improvement Program for fiscal years 2023 to 2024 through fiscal years 2027 to 2028. Total value is $219,567,609 for the 5-year period. Funding is through County Road Fund, Community Road Fund, state and federal grants, tax increment financing, and system development charges. No county general funds are involved. Item 2, approval of an agreement with the Johnson Creek Watershed Council on the Rugg Road Badger Creek Culvert Fish Passage Project. Total agreement value is $496,312. Funding is through a National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration grant and county road funds. No county general funds are involved. Item 3, approval of a resolution declaring the public necessity and purpose for acquisition of right-of-way, easements, and fee property and authorizing good faith negotiations and condemnation actions for the Rugg Road Badger Creek Culvert and Fish Passage Project. Total project value is $681,227. Funding is through a National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration grant and county road funds. No county general funds are involved. Item 4, approval of a board order approving solid waste management fee increases. No fiscal impact. No county general funds are involved. Item 5, approval of a public improvement contract with KNL Industries Incorporated for the Fishers Mill Road paving project. Total value is $866,053.40. Funding is through County House Bill 2017 program funds. No county general funds are involved. Item 6, approval of a public improvement contract with TFT Construction Incorporated for the Frayer Park Roadway Improvements Project. Total value is $416,242.60. Funding through an Oregon Parks and Recreation Department County Opportunity Grant and Metro 2019 Parks and Nature Bond funding. No county general funds are involved. Item 7, approval of a personal services contract with GSI Water Solutions Incorporated for on-call land use hydrogeological consulting. Total value is $150,000 for 5 years. Funding is through permitting revenue. No county general funds are involved. Chair, that concludes the county's consent agenda.
Thank you very much. Does any commissioner wish to remove anything from this consent agenda? I'll entertain a motion.
Chair, I move that we approve the consent agenda as read.
Second.
Commissioner West has moved we approve the consent agenda, and Commissioner Schrader has seconded the motion. Any further discussion? Seeing none, would the clerk please call the poll?
Commissioner Savas.
Aye.
Commissioner Scholl.
Aye.
Commissioner Schrader.
Aye.
Commissioner West.
Aye.
Chair Smith.
Aye, motion passes 5-0. Thank you very much. I will now recess as a Board of County Commissioners and convene as the Clackamas County Service District Number 5 Lighting District Board of Directors. Nancy, would you please read the items?
So yes, next we have the Service District Number 5 Streeting Light Consent Agenda, and would you please read that agenda?
Clackamas County Service District Number 5 Street Lighting Consent Agenda. 1 item, approval of a board resolution certifying the 2024-2025 assessment roll for the Clackamas County Service District Number 5. Total value is $2,315,119.80. Funding through ratepayers, no county general funds are involved.
Does any commissioner wish to remove anything from this particular consent agenda? Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion.
I move we approve the consent agenda as read.
Second.
Director West has moved for approval of the Service District Number 5 street lighting consent agenda, and Director Schrader has seconded the motion. Any further discussion? Would the clerk please call the poll?
Director Scholl,
Aye.
Director Savas,
Aye.
Director Schrader,
Aye.
Director West,
Aye.
Chair Smith.
Aye, motion passes 5-0. Thank you very much. I will now adjourn as a Service District Number 5 Street Lighting Board and convene as a Water Environment Services Board of Directors. Nancy, what's next?
Yes, next is the Water Environment Services Consent Agenda, and Everett, would you please read the consent agenda?
Water Environment Services Consent Agenda. Item 1, approval of a fiscal year 2023-2024 report in lieu of audit form for Clackamas County Service District Number 1. Filing fee is $20. Funding is through West Sanitary Sewer and Surface Water Operating Funds. No county general funds are involved. Item 2, approval of a fiscal year 2023-2024 report in lieu of audit form for Tri-City Service District. Filing fee is $20. Funding is through West Sanitary Sewer Operating Funds. No county general funds are involved. Item 3, approval of a fiscal year 2023-2024 report in lieu of audit form for Surface Water Management Agency of Clackamas County. Filing fee is $20. Funding is through West Surface Water Operating Funds. No county general funds are involved. Item 4, approval of a contract with Braun Construction and Design LLC for services necessary to complete the Azar Southeast 108th Drainage Project. Contract value is $183,613.75. Funding is through West Surface Water Construction Funds. No county general funds are involved. Item 5, approval of a grant agreement with Oregon Water Resources Department for water conservation, reuse, and storage. Grant value is $75,000. Matched funding is through West Sanitary Sewer Operating Funds. No county general funds are involved. Chair, that is the end of the West consent agenda.
Thank you very much. Does any director wish to remove any item from this consent agenda? Seeing none, I'll accept a motion.
I move for approval of the Water Environment Services consent agenda.
Thank you very much. Director Scholl has moved approval of the Water Environment Services consent agenda, and Director West has seconded that motion. Any further discussion? Seeing none, would the clerk please take the poll?
Director Schrader,
Aye.
Director Savas,
Aye.
Director West,
Aye.
Director Scholl,
Aye.
Chair Smith.
Aye. Motion passes 5-0. Thank you very much. I will now adjourn as a Water Environment Services Board of Directors and reconvene as the Board of County Commissioners. Thank you very much. Up next is public communication. This portion of the agenda shall be limited to items of county business which are properly the object of board consideration and should be nonpartisan in nature, as the BCC is a nonpartisan governing body under Oregon Revised Statutes and County Code. Testimony is limited to 3 minutes. Comments shall be respectful and courteous to all. I will now open the meeting for public testimony, and I will take in-person testimony first. Everett, do we have any blue cards today?
We do not, Chair Smith.
And I do not see anybody raising their hands in the room who would like to testify, so we will move on. Do we have anybody online who wishes to testify today?
We do not have anyone online today.
Okay, thank you very much. I will now close the public communication portion of this meeting and move on. Nancy, what's next?
So next up, we have the communication from the county administrator, and today I have some good news for you. So first of all, another week brings more public kudos and thanks to our road crews within the Department of Transportation and Development. This time, there are 2 people who wrote in to express their appreciation for our recent paving of Sunshine Valley Road near Boring. First is from Raymond in Damascus, and he says, I have dreamed for years that Sunshine Valley Road would get a real asphalt overlay and not just chip seal. For years, my morning drive to work has been a game of dodging potholes. This week, you did a wonderful job and a wonderful thing, and paved it from 257th to Telford. Thank you so much. And the other one comes from Linda, who is in Boring. Thank you, thank you, thank you for the road work on Sunshine Valley Road. I could kiss your feet, so lovely. Please tell the crews thank you for their first-class work, quick, clean, and as well as smooth as glass. So.
You know, I know where
thank-
that road is.
Yeah, it's been.
It's been many, many years. Thank you.
Yes.
Now it's time for Commissioner
I'm
communication.
sorry, I do need to remind everyone, too, that the BCC will be in recess the next 2 weeks as well.
Oh, good, thank you. We will be.
Yes.
Now it's time for Commissioner communication. Commissioners, I'd like to remind you, we have a meeting immediately after this, and so if we could be brief in our comments, I would appreciate that. Does any commissioner wish to make a comment at this time?
Chair Smith, I would like to take
Yes.
just 1 minute, please. Yes, for the people of Clackamas County, good morning. I just want to call your attention to a measure that you will see on your ballot in November. It's Measure 118. Measure 118, if passed, would remove the minimum tax cap and increase the minimum tax on all corporations with organ sales exceeding $25 million by imposing an additional 3% sales tax above $25 million. The proceeds from this is expected to yield some $3 billion a year. And that money would then be used to provide a check to every Oregonian, even people who have been here for only 200 days, is a minimum income or basic income concept. This came from a group of activists in California that could not get this passed in California, so they came here. My caution to every resident, every voter in the Clackamas County is this. This will, if passed, will only ensure that our county and our state is even less attractive to big business. This will not end well. It will not last. And in fact, instead of providing some sort of insurance, income insurance to every man, woman, and child in the state, I believe it will actually make our state less prosperous. So please be aware of Measure 118, learn about it, and make a educated decision when you vote in November. Also, I'd like to bring to your attention that Metro is currently doing a study on the urban growth boundary with potential to increase the size of the Metro urban growth boundary. And why is this important? It's important because we must look at this issue and understand that a great percentage of our very costly housing is because of constricted land availability. It's a supply and demand thing, supply and demand issue. So right now, Metro is taking input from the public. I encourage you all to go to www.oregonmetro.gov and look at the growth management decision and make a comment. Also on transportation, you've probably seen in the news that ODOT continues to have financial problems with their budget. They're allegedly some $354 million short. You've heard me talk in the past about the importance of reducing the cost of government, not increasing taxes to the people. Also, this issue is going to have some impact on tolling. And I understand that right now, ODOT is paying some 70 full-time employees to look at tolling. So I just want you to be aware of this. The government in Salem has got plenty of your money. They need to look at their budget, not your wallet. Thank you. Also, I'd like to thank the Clackamas County Fair Board. Myself and the other commissioners were down in Canby for the parade here a couple days ago. We had a wonderful time. And the fair is a very joyful event. And I encourage every mom and dad in Clackamas County, sometime between now and Saturday, to grab the kids and head down to the fair. You won't regret it. It's a great time. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Savas.
Yeah, last week I tried to share, I guess I would say a responsibility, but bring attention to the issue about the working agreements the board agreed to in March of 2021. I believe I specifically talked about number 3, be honest, respectful, and fair to each other. Number 8A, communicate with respect and efficiency. This will be recognized by waiting to be recognized to speak and not interrupting. 8C, allowing others to express their perspective. Number 10, allow staff presentations without interruption. Number 13, honor our prior governing policies and commitments and this agreement. Number 14, hold each other accountable for these commitments. That, as I mentioned last week, was something that I believe, while I struggle with it, I think it's important, but the conundrum here is that when we try to do that, if we don't do that with open-mindedness, getting back to one of the principles here, their ground rules for conduct is listen to hear and understand, as opposed to rebut, challenge, or dispute. So one of these other ones for ground rules is assume positive intent. And so the conundrum here is the last one, which says correct misinformation. I think it's important. I said this over and over, that the public, people that are watching, ourselves, that we try to be as accurate as we can and not convey misinformation. And maybe we honestly are misinformed sometimes, and it's healthy to be either have that corrected for everyone's benefit. But to be attacked for it is another thing. So I really just want to point out that I think we all have a responsibility to abide by number 14, and that is hold each other accountable for these commitments. And at the same token is, I just want to draw attention to this document that we all approve for working agreements, and recognizing that the last couple of weeks have been very, very difficult. That's what I have for today. I yield back.
Any other further commissioner communication today? I am going to
Fine.
forego my comments today.
Forgo mine.
And you as well.
I will forego mine.
And commissioners, thank you for a very prompt, wonderful meeting today. We got the consent agenda accomplished, which people were out there waiting for that. Seeing no further business before this commission, we are adjourned.